Hello, Clay Addicts. This is Maddie from Mud Clay Studio working remotely from my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make our next project in the Curbside Clay series, which will be a tripod mug. Each project is $35 and you can choose your glaze color, which is orange, yellow, green, sapphire, grape, and pink. You can return to glaze for $15 extra once restrictions are lifted. Please let us know when you are going to drop off your projects and allow 3 weeks for firing. We will not email you when they are ready, but we'll let you know a ready by date. I will be posting new projects in the coming weeks and days straight from my kitchen, so keep informed. Keep in mind, once you start working with the clay, you have limited time to rework it, so please keep it wrapped in plastic. Do not put this clay in the oven and do not paint it. Your projects must return to Mud Clay Studio to be fired in our kilns and will be food safe after it is fired. All clay washes out of your clothes, and post your creations on any social media platform using hashtag MudClayStudioNJ, and you will be entered into a raffle to win a free walk-in hand building session.
Alright, welcome back everybody. This is the next project in our Curbside Clay series. What we're going to be making today are the tripod mugs. And here is a sample all done and beautiful. So again, tripod, meaning sits on 3. The other thing I want you guys to think about is what color glazes you want to use for this. You can pick from one of our samples and let us know via email or when you drop it off. The other thing that's going to be in your kit is this tripod mug template, which is just a long square. And a couple other things that you're going to need are a sponge, which you can find in your house. Make sure it's damp, not wet. A pencil, can be cruddy if it needs to be. And some plastic utensils, which are really good for working with the clay. And one other thing I would recommend you have is a brush. We're going to use this for the slip as you keep moving forward. You'll kind of see how I'm going to use it. So this is our slip, which should also be in your kit, and some extra clay. All right, so let's get started. So first things first, I'm going to use my plastic knife to cut out this tracer. I rolled it out before with my rolling pin to make sure it was nice and thick. You want to make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch or about this thick as well. So I'm gonna just press this on and I'm holding it down as I cut along the outside. So then we also have a nice rectangle. Your clay should be on the drier side for this because again it's holding on to its own weight. And so I'm going to put this all off to the side. I can put this over here. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to slip and score these 2 edges together. So we're going to create the side slit where your handle for your mug is going to go. So again, this is really important that you make sure that you slip and score this really well. I'm going to show you how to do it. Another thing you can do is you can also overlap the pieces. The clay is really soft right now, so you can kind of have it more of a oval. But again, make sure you slip and score really well. Fork. This is our score maker, or for our scratches. So I'm going to scratch the clay really, really well here. So I'm scratching, scratching, scratching. Think of the itchiest mosquito bite you've ever had. The other thing is I'm going to scratch on the inside because I want to overlap these pieces rather than have them butt up. So I have my scratches. Then this is our slip. Open this up carefully so it doesn't go everywhere. And I have my brush. I'm just going to dip it in here and then I'm going to paint it on. So this is the slip. So slipping and scoring. One other thing I want you guys to think about doing is pressing. So I'm going to press my clay together until it forms a nice even piece. So I'm just kind of pressing. And you can kind of keep smoothing this down as we go. Another thing that's really helpful is you can use this knife more by just kind of pressing it down this way. and pressing it down. The other thing is you can use the rolling pin if you get the angle, but another thing that I found in my kitchen that's super helpful is a wooden spoon. It's not going to be used for mixing anything anymore. It's clay only. And you kind of press those two together. All right. And then you want to kind of form it back into your cylinder. Just make sure too when you get it to stand up, you want to also kind of smooth out the inside seam. It's going to make your life a lot easier as we keep moving forward. This guy is also really helpful, a plastic spoon, just like Spoonie from the new Toy Story movie. All right, so now I have my seam. Again, we can kind of keep pressing this and smoothing it out, but for the most part, I think it's pretty good. It's holding its own weight. It's not flopping left or right. So why don't we do it from this side? All right, so to make a tripod mug, and I'll flip this upside down next to it to show you guys. So you're gonna pinch the clay at 3 spots. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm pinching here, here, and here. All right, so again, just to show you guys again, so I'm pinching here, here, and here. So then you have 4 or 3 feet. But again, just make sure that you guys slip and score before you touch anything. So I'm scratching the surface of this clay. Here I'm scratching all the way around. Scratch, 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 scratch. And then we have our slip, slip, slip. And kind of press it. All right. And now I'm going to take my pieces and I'm just pressing them until they turn that triangle shape. You're also going to notice is see how there's a hole in the middle? We're going to press clay into that from the inside to fill that hole. All right, and you can kind of keep smoothing out. Your clay is also going to start stretching. It's okay. That's everything. We can kind of smooth that out as we go. I also have a sponge handy that's good for smoothing. But again, just kind of keep forming that piece. All right. And again, as you see also the seam, it's starting to blend in really well. Okay. Now the other thing is you can probably see some air or some light coming through that hole. There's 2 ways to do this. The easier way to do this, I think, is to take a little bit of clay, scratch, 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 and then you're gonna add it like a band-aid. So again, I'm taking this and I'm covering over that hole, kind of pressing. I would say do it from the inside and outside just so no liquid accidentally comes through. All right, now again, another thing, sponge, super helpful. Kind of pressing that in. If you guys can kind of see, I'll move this guy back out of the way. And again, I'm just kind of smoothing it out as we go. Smoothing it out, using my finger. All right. I would also recommend doing this from the inside. So if you do ever use a drink out of this, you don't have to worry about cleaning that tiny hole that's collecting all that space. So again, you want to just grab this guy or even, pencil. So then you can kind of reach down and get into that hole. And then scratch, scratch, scratch. And kind of drop it. Hopefully it fits. Didn't go where I wanted to go, but we have these trusty plastic utensils to help us. And just kind of press it into the clay. Again, we have our spoon. All right. And again, you can play with these for hours on end. I'm going to show you the basics so you're not watching me all afternoon or all morning or all evening. And then I would rather you guys get to work. And again, if you ever have any questions, you can always email us at clay@madisonmud.com. Okay. All right, so we are pretty good at this point. It's not perfect, but that's okay. So if you guys can kind of see on the inside there, The other thing is maybe just smooth out this lip where you're going to be drinking out of the clay. You can use your finger, you can use the damp sponge, you can even use your spoon. You gotta just smack it. The force will help you. Glaze will fill in all of these cracks, so this is more aesthetic at this point if you're like, I really don't like that crack too much. Okay, all right, so this is our tripod mug. Now, super easy to build, but it's missing a few more things. We have all this extra clay over here. We need to cut a handle on, slip and score it on. So the easiest way to cut a handle is I have all this extra clay over here. And you can use the edge of your template to do this. If you want it to be more of a square or a rectangle shape. So again, I'm cut that so it's a nice edge. Cut this so it's a nice edge. Then I'm going to scratch this and this. All right. And then I'm going to attach this onto where that seam is. So again, it's even covered up even more so. So I would slip and score here onto the top. When you do handles, I always like to see, so a lot of people like to just do it this way. To have it more surface area touching the clay, I always kind of bend it and then fold it. So I'm scratching, slipping, and then press. Always important to press. Everybody just slips and scores and they stick it on. And I'm like, well, you gotta do a little bit more. And then my bottom handle, slipping and scoring. You guys can kind of see, and then press. Now this mug, again, very basic, very simple, kind of boring. So I want you guys to think about what else you can do to add to your clay project. Maybe you want to draw lines into it with your pencil. Another thing is, which we should have done beforehand, you can press some texture into it. I just have my bubble wrap. And I have my trusty sponge, or my trusty spoon, telling the clay what to do. And then it'll leave a little bit of an imprint, but when we glaze it, all of that will come up. And then another couple of things that you guys can use. We have all of these textures that I found in my kitchen. So I have my corrugated cardboard, my shoe insole, which would create really nice lines into the clay. So again, kind of play with your textures a little bit, look around, see what you got. I think this is good for today. Pretty good mug. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can always contact us at clay@madisonbond.com. Thank you and be well.